Do you want to learn how to earn commissions of up to 20% by laundering millions of foreign dollars?
Well, we can't help you with that. But among the many IT problems we solve, Barracuda's email security solutions keep email phishing attacks like this from entering your business network and any valuable data from leaking out. Reclaim your network like 150,000 other businesses have. To learn more about stopping email-borne threats, visit barracuda.com/email.
Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon and Tony. $600,000 worth of art was stolen from the Boston Public Library. You got any leads?
I'm Tony Kornheiser. Check my eBay. This stuff is selling like hotcakes. Get it while you can.
Yeah, well, you better max out because you'll be in the pokey. We'll have a legal defense fund that will star your money.
I might be in the pokey. I might be in there with all those FIFA guys. You know? Might be a crowded pokey at this point. Got a lot of them under indictment. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, James Harden stinks it up, Chip Kelly talks race, and Sepp Blatter pledges to clean up FIFA. But we begin today with the end of our long national nightmare. Tom Thibodeau was finally fired by the Chicago Bulls, and on the way out, not only did the Bulls oversee Thibodeau with guards as he packed up his things, but owner Jerry Reinsdorf made it very clear the Bulls thought Thibodeau was uncoachable. Quote, there must be free and open interdepartmental discussion. These internal discussions must not be considered an invasion of turf and must remain private. When everyone is on the same page, trust develops and teams can grow and succeed together. Unfortunately, there has been a departure from this culture, unquote. Whew! Wilbon, the Bulls are your team. Why would they set Thibodeau on fire like this?
Well, Tony, you know, you weren't really paying attention to this, and there was no need for people who weren't or in and around Chicago or the team to follow this. But as I told you, going back to September, this was going to come to a head. I had a player tell me just this week, said, okay, to speak to that first point you read, just said, it's okay to ask me as a player to get better, but shouldn't a coach have to get better and evolve too? And I just thought, ouch. Also, Tony, the Bulls, and particularly the brass, they thought they blew, that team blew an opportunity to beat an injured, wounded LeBron James team. And, Tony, it's the first time I've ever seen the town disappointed in the Bulls because they believed, and this includes top-level management, that the Bulls blew the opportunity. They didn't max out.
I get all that.
And this is being directed by management at Tips.
I get all that. So you fire the guy. But they killed him for other jobs by saying there's no trust in the organization. They're saying he sabotaged all the departments. They're saying, they're clearly implying he leaked stuff out. Mike, one stat. He won 64% of his games.
I know, 64-7, I think.
It's in the history of basketball. It's the sixth highest percentage among people who have coached 300 games or more. And half those games, Derrick Rose wasn't there. And now on the way out, they're crushing this guy.
Tony, there was one. You're not listening to me. They thought they should have beaten LeBron James, and they look out there and see the Atlanta Hawks being nothing of resistance. They look out there now and seeing Cleveland in the finals. They built this team to win now and thought this team should have been there, and management is blaming Tibbs. If we heard from Tibbs, Tony, it'd be a different story.
They fired guys before and not crushed them on the way out like this.
No, this was acrimonious, Tony. It was terrible all year. All right, Tony, let's talk about a team that's actually still playing. The Warriors eliminated the Rockets last night in a contentious but artistically challenged game. And the person who struggled the most was James Harden, who had a nightmarish game when his team needed him most. 2 for 11 with an NBA playoff record, 13 turnovers. Tony, is Houston's loss entirely on the man who got them there in the first place?
You're not going to want to hear this answer. Houston lost that series when James Harden at Game 2 could not get off a game-winning shot. He was guarded by the Splash Brothers. We last saw him down on all fours looking for his mouthpiece like Mike Tyson against Buster Douglas. He comes back the next night. He's terrible. He's 3 for 16. They don't have other players they can depend on. He is their best player by a lot. He has a great game when he scores 45, and then when they need to build momentum, he throws this one out, 2 for 11, where you say the highest amount of turnovers in playoff history. Mike, this loss, the loss of the series is 100% on James Harden. Not that he's not a great player, but it's on him.
Tony, this has got to be a tough summer for James Harden as he tries to go forward. Here's a guy who was runner-up in the MVP race, thought he deserved the award. And if anything, we know it's a regular season award, but these things are validated by what you do in the playoffs. And legacies are built, formed by what you do in the playoffs. That's true and fair in all professional sports.
That's right.
And James Harden had a bad moment, you mentioned, in Game 2 after the end of a great game. And then, Tony, he had 2 clunkers.
In Game 3, they're home, Mike. It's their first time at home. They lose by 35.
Well, Tony, here's what's even tougher to figure out about this team. Dwight Howard, your boy, he came to play last night, Tony. He came to play, and he had a performance. But you know, Tony, and I'm going to speculate a little bit now just from watching and being around this team for the last couple of weeks. I don't know that Harden and D12, Dwight Howard, need to be on the same squad. I just wonder about that.
Dwight Howard cannot carry a team anymore. You got to hear this quote, Mike.
Tony, that's what I'm getting at here.
This is Dwight Howard's words. No matter how the season ends, I am still a champion. I won't let anybody tell me anything different. Really? What are you the champion of? That's a statement of a foolish person, Mike.
There's a disconnect. I'm going to give you credit because you called this out 5-6 years ago.
Years ago.
But Houston has an issue now as to what to do when you have 2 guys you're paying this much money, and both of them perceive themselves to be stars.
Well, there's one star on that team. He failed, but there's one star. Wilbon, you were right about both NHL conference finals. You had the Rangers winning in Tampa in Game 6. You had the Blackhawks winning last night at home in Game 6. And so we have 2 Game 7s, as you predicted. Rangers Lightning, Blackhawks Ducks. How badly do you think the NHL is rooting for Chicago and New York?
Well, of course, they're never going to admit that. But an Anaheim-Tampa series is not something that's going to, wake the casual viewer. When you get 2 original 6 teams that, happen to be the largest and 3rd largest markets in America, that would wake the general population. Tony, I think some people outside of sort of the Chicago, New York dynamic would at least take a peek in, where Anaheim, Tampa doesn't stir that. So it also would be, I think, a pretty great series, artistically, strategically. Doesn't mean we're going to get it, but I think the league has to be quietly rooting for it.
Tampa, quietly, they should be setting off bonfires and root for it. Tampa would be a complete disaster. Anaheim wouldn't be that terrible because you have the L.A. market, but Chicago would be better. The
Kings have the L.A. market.
The amazing statistic here is that these are 2 of the original 6. And let me say that again. 6. That's all there were for a lot of years. They've apparently never played in the Stanley Cup final. Never.
Well, Tony,
the Rangers were a bad team for a long time. The Rangers have only won 1 cup since 1941. That's like 74 years.
94, right? 1994, I think, is when they won, when Messier won.
Yeah.
But, Tony, what happened for all those years were Toronto and Montreal were playing for the Cup. It was always one of them, if not both of them. And so you didn't have the Rangers.
Well, I got the Rangers winning Game 7 because Lundqvist at home in Game 7.
Oh, you're back on their bandwagon now. The Capitals are gone. Is that the deal? Is that how you roll?
He was great against the Capitals in Game 7. He wins Game 7s at home. The other series is your problem, not mine. Not mine.
Not your problem. That's good. Chip Kelly spoke to reporters today, and for a change, it didn't have to do with trading anybody. It actually had to do with something more serious. The coach's reaction to LaShawn McCoy saying Kelly got rid of all the Eagles' talented black players, and there was a reason for it, close quote. Kelly said McCoy is wrong and that race plays no part in how he builds his roster. And he has no plans to talk about this with his players, black or white. Tony, do you think at some point Chip Kelly will have to?
I don't think he has to talk to the media about it at all. I think he will have to talk to his players. There are a lot of black players in that room. And LaShawn McCoy basically called him a racist. When LaShawn McCoy said, and I'm quoting here, there's a reason Kelly got rid of all the black players, and then he didn't say what the reason was, the clear implication is that Chip Kelly is a racist. He's going to have to go in that room, and he's going to have to open up that discussion, because there's got to be some trepidation on the part of some players, don't you think?
Tony, I think you make a rational case and a persuasive one. But I think NFL coaches, unlike their counterparts in every other sport, I think NFL coaches just stonewall. They just ignore. They just call something a distraction because they have all the power in the room.
But this is so serious, Mike.
This is race. And they don't have to do anything they don't want to do.
This isn't cutting a player, and this isn't putting in an offense. This is something that can break a team apart. Let's go back to Philadelphia for a second. Because Terrell Owens, when he said of Donovan McNabb, he's too cozy with management, you and I and everybody else interpreted that as him saying Donovan McNabb was not black enough. Then
right.
under Kelly's watch, you have the Riley Cooper incident. Race bubbles up in Philadelphia, and it attaches itself to something. This is not like putting in a game plan. I think he can't miss talking about it. He has to talk about it.
Tony, you know what? If you asked me to bet whether he'll talk about it or not, I would almost take the bet that he won't. Again, Tony,
he's a smart guy.
Tony, you're talking the room. That's not the point. It's not the point. Football coaches avoid real-world issues every day. They sleep in their sofas in their offices 3 nights a week in some cases, and they don't deal with the issues of the day that the rest of us do. They just don't.
This is the elephant in the room, Mike.
They sidestep them. They avoid them.
This is the huge one. This is the big one.
Does he see the elephant?
We all see the elephant, Mike.
Okay.
FIFA President Sepp Blatter spoke today for the first time since 14 FIFA executives were arrested in Switzerland and charged with racketeering, bribery, and corruption, among other things. Blatter said, quote, "I know many people hold me responsible. I cannot monitor everyone at all time. There can be no place for corruption of any time. It has to stop here. Solidarity and unity is asked for the game, for the world, for peace," unquote. Really? Blatter is refusing to resign and fully expects to be reelected as president tomorrow. Wilbon, seriously, don't you have to kind of admire this guy's survival instincts?
No. It's not survival instinct. It's just the kind of arrogance I trash all the time when I see it in others, particularly in a certain American sports league that we talk about every day. I don't admire anything about him. I find him to be a bully. I find him to be he'd have to either be just sort of disconnected or the most arrogant man in the world. And I'm going to go for the latter, most arrogant man in the world.
I would say at this point that when the Attorney General of the United States, Loretta Lynch, is involved in this, she's hoping that of those people she's arrested already and indicted, some of them are going to flip and they're going to give names like Blatter.
Start chatting.
And maybe she would want to get Blatter in jail. In this country, of course, institutional control means that whatever happens to the rest of them is going to land on him. But I don't know FIFA, and you don't know FIFA. We don't know how it works. I was watching a fabulously funny segment today on the John Oliver show about FIFA, and as it turns out, they're totally tax exempt when they have the World Cup. They literally change the laws of countries that they go into to accommodate their desires. They appear to be above the law, Mike. They just appear to be above the law.
Tony, tiny little places like Liechtenstein, they get as much money from FIFA as the United States of America or Brazil or Italy or soccer powers. He's got a lot of backing, number one. How about this little
Well, it doesn't seem like the countries get any money. It seems the FIFA guys get all the money.
No, they get their money. They get paid, Tony. Here's the other thing. They don't have to divulge anyone's salary, including his. No one's salary has to be made public. There are no rules that he lives by, ever. So why would you think that this guy now is going to be accountable?
Well, I think it's great that he wants to do this for the kids and for peace. That makes me happy. Let's take a break. But coming up, Bryce Harper is on pace for 63 home runs. How many will he end up with?
And Brad Keselowski doesn't just drive, he also fights. And he's a great, great talker. He's going to join us next.
Sepp Blatter. Can't be good. Got to feel some heat. A little bit of heat. Some heat.
Geico presents Strange Saving Stories. Astronomers detected an interstellar transmission. It stated, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. The implications were staggering. Was the cosmos telling us we could all save hundreds on car insurance with Geico? Or did their radar merely pick up a signal from the nearby Rufus and Clyde's morning show? We may never know.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
We have a confession. We're not experts on NASCAR, but we know good talkers, and Brad Keselowski's one of our favorites. He is 6th in the standings heading into Sunday's race in Delaware. We welcome him back to the program. Keselowski's going to rent my house in Rehoboth Beach. I'm going to be very rich over the weekend. You have won out west. You have already qualified for the chase, but your results lately haven't been as good as you want, I'm sure. Are you pleased with where things stand right now, Brad?
Yeah, I think I'm somewhat happy. You know, to have a win early in the season, Tony, is pretty strong. But we want to win every week, right? That's the competitor in us. And we've had some ups and downs. And, you know, we had the All-Star week 2 weeks ago, and we're so close to winning the All-Star race. That would have been huge for us and just came up a bit short. But all in all, you got to be happy to have a win on the board early in the season and be qualified for NASCAR's version of the playoffs called the Chase.
Brad, we got to go back just for 1 second to November when you got in that crazy-looking fight with Jeff Gordon, all right, tell us, what did you think of your performance when you saw the tape?
Well, I didn't fight. I don't believe in fighting over racing. If you're going to fight for something cool, or something that means something, like your family or your country. So I don't believe in fighting over racing. I believe in competing on the racetrack. So I would say I probably ranked very low on the fight scale, and that's intentional.
Gordon called you a bad name. He wondered how you'd ever won a cup. Those are fighting words to some degree. What is your relationship like now? Because you strike us as one of the more personable, friendly guys out there.
Well, I try to be friendly, but when you get on the racetrack, you got to be an animal, right? That's what being a competitor is all about. And, success in racing and success in really any sport is a pie. There's only so much of it, and you want the biggest slice you can get. And along the way, the guy that's got a smaller slice gets angry. And, in that particular example or situation, it really hurt Jeff what happened in that race, and he was frustrated. And that's how it should be. You should be frustrated when you don't have a great day. But, I think there's always, of course, a spot in the line that of what you do with that next. And, I'm not going to take it to the fighting level, but that's his choice if he wanted to.
Brad, we loved your series of tweets a couple of months ago where you said athletes should speak out and speak up and, show their personalities, which is somewhat a unique position these days. You said you feel guilty when you don't do that. What do you think it is that holds guys back from doing that now?
Oh, it's endorsement deals. That's the problem with anyone who speaks their mind is they can't get any endorsement deals, and that's a lot of money for an athlete. And every athlete knows that when they talk, the less valuable they are for any kind of endorsement, opportunity that comes up. So, I understand that. I feel, lucky to be in the place I am. I mean, I drive a race car for a living. It's pretty lucky, right? But at the end of the day, I can't really feel good about that unless I know that, I've stood up for the things that I think are important in my life. And if you're the type of person that kind of shies away from that because, you're more worried about endorsements or things like that down the line, that's something I'd feel really guilty about.
Do you think you personally have taken hits because of that? Have you had potential endorsers saying, hey, Brad, cool it?
Yeah, any athlete, Mike, that speaks out and says stuff on social media is hurting his endorsement capabilities because, at the end of the day, we live in a polarizing world, and there's left and there's right and not a lot of in between. And if you try to walk the line, you make people mad, and if you try left or you go right, you're going to make people mad. And so you're best off being quiet when it comes to those opportunities.
So this is very risky of us. Is there anything you'd like to get off your chest today and maybe ruin the chance of getting 5 to 10 more sponsors?
No, I don't have a topic on my mind. You got something you want me to comment on? No. I know one thing. I feel bad for everybody in Houston, so that's legit, and I'm not going to say any mean tweets about that. That's for sure.
We will get you out of here on this. You became a father to a baby girl last week. I imagine that has changed your life. Tell us about that.
Oh, yeah, it's the best thing ever. You guys, do you have kids, Tony?
Yep. But they're grown. My kids are grown and out now, yeah.
And tell me it's not one of the best things that's ever happened to you, because it is for me, and I feel very lucky.
No, it was wonderful, but I would tell you that at about age 12, it gets a little rough.
Don't listen to that.
It gets a little rough.
I'm ready for that. I'm ready for that. I might have to buy a few shotguns for when she gets a little older, but that's okay. That's way down the line.
Congratulations on fatherhood, Brad.
Yes, congratulations, and thank you as always for joining us, Brad.
Much appreciated.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Mike. Thank you, Tony.
Let's take one last break. But still to come is Scott Skiles, the right choice to coach the Magic.
Again? And Vikings coach Mike Zimmer makes it clear to Adrian Peterson, play for us or not at all.
Remarkably, your voice is even worse today.
ESPN Radio.
With the action on the court, the diamond, or the gridiron.
Comes alive.
The NBA.
The San Antonio Spurs are the world champions.
Major League Baseball.
San Francisco Giants are the champions of the baseball world.
The new college football playoff.
College football playoff national champion, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
You're home for the best in sports play-by-play.
ESPN Radio.
Happy time, people. Happy 77th birthday, Jerry West. Yes, we completely associate Jerry West with the Los Angeles Lakers' greatest teams that he was on and later created. But Jerry West, as an advisor to Golden State, is back in the finals. And his greatest move was insisting the Warriors draft little-known Klay Thompson out of Washington State the logo man strikes again.
Noah's greatest move was insisting that they keep Klay Thompson and not trade him for Kevin Love in this past offseason, so they still have the Splash Brothers intact. That was an even better move.
Happy anniversary, Lance Stevenson. On this day last year, you blew in LeBron's ear. So let's see how this worked out. LeBron James has made the finals for the 5th straight season, and Lance Stevenson is dead weight on the Charlotte Hornets. Blow on that, Lance.
Tony, have you ever seen a guy's fortunes plummet? I mean, in relative health. He goes to a team that had been in the playoffs the past year, and nothing just disappears.
Happy trails, Caroline Wozniacki. Wozniacki got the bum's rush in the French Open second round today from Julia Gorgas, who's ranked somewhere in the 70s. Coincidentally, Wozniacki's old flame, Rory McIlroy, coughed up a hairball today at his national championship, the Irish Open, shooting 80. His 2 most recent rounds are 78 and 80, Mike. That's not good for the #1 player in the world.
Are you suggesting they should get back together to raise their athletic fortunes?
No.
Oh,
no. Just one error. I said the New York Rangers had won just 1 cup since 1941. While that is technically true, the more popular stat is they've won 1 cup since 1940 when they had the big win. I was technically right. We're running out of show. We're going to go to the big finish.
Let's do it.
Broncos Pro Bowl left tackle Ryan Clady tore his ACL at OTAs yesterday. He is out for the season. How big a deal is that?
Well, every other season when he's healthy, he winds up making the Pro Bowl, and blocking for Peyton Manning. It's a big deal. Vikings coach Mike Zimmer says Adrian Peterson will play for the Vikes this season or not play at all. You agree with that?
No, I don't. I still think Adrian Peterson is going to play somewhere else, and this is all posturing now. Yahoo reports that the Magic are closing in on Scott Skiles as their next head coach. Is that a good choice?
I mean, maybe. Skiles has had success in a number of places, but I don't know. Where's this coming from? Just seems like out of left field. Bryce Harper, your boy, up to 18 home runs, on pace for 63. Over-unders 50, Tone.
Had 2 against the Cubs in the last 2 nights. Sprays them to all fields. I don't think he'll get 50. That's so many. But I'm going 45-plus for Bryce Harper.
Okay.
Last one, Corey Kluber goes for the Indians again tonight. How many strikeouts will he have?
Tony, I'm going to go with 13. 37 Ks over his last 3 games to 1 based on balls.
Wow.
Just 1. That's amazing.
We're out of time. We'll try and do better the next time. And I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. Check out the PTI podcast on iTunes.
Uriel Cassis, happy birthday. He's my trainer.
PTI.